In this training video, we'll cover how to build and navigate a template for email marketing communications in Keela. Of course, you can always build email marketing communications here in the Email Marketing tab. However, Keela also offers you the ability to create and save templates. This is an awesome opportunity to create a uniform template for your organization to fall back on whenever you have any regular updates that you want to provide your contact database. In this example, we're going to create a monthly newsletter template together. Let's jump right in. Let's start by creating a saved template for our monthly newsletter emails. Before we jump in and create this template, I always find it helpful to have anything regarding your organization's internal style guide, whether it's specific fonts, colors, logos, or images that your organization prefers to use in order to maintain that uniform and recognizable branding. I recommend having that open on a separate tab or a separate window, and that way it's easy to access while you're building out this template. Then, once this template's saved, you can simply update the information or images as you need, but you'll still have the main bones of that structure. So let's start and actually build this template together. Let's start by naming our template so that it's easily recognizable. Next, we're going to have the opportunity to choose from one of Keela's pre-built templates. These are really great if you don't have a lot of time to be creative here and you want to kind of fill in the blanks or just use or adjust some of the coloring or font here and update it with your own images. We also have some of these blank but structured email marketing templates that can be used so you can fill in the basic structure of the communication with your organization's own branding. But of course today we're going to actually build one from scratch. We'll start here, and Keela has 3 different little sections that are visible, and each one represents a header, the body, and the footer of your email. And let's actually jump in by heading into the Style tab. And this is where we can easily make a color code, so it's kind of easier to navigate this preview window here as we start building out that content. So first, you're going to want to decide what the page layout setting is, if you want it to be centered within the email screen or full width. And the great thing here is that you can adjust this at any time. So you can actually build your template and then adjust which page layout setting you've chosen. To begin with, I'm going to start with the centered page layout setting. And let's actually start. I'm going to create 3 different colored backgrounds for the header, the body, and the footer, just so it's easy for us to distinguish here. So I actually have some color formulas here for my organization based on one of the images that we're going to be using in this specific newsletter template. And we're going to go ahead and add some padding here so that we can see the background is actually being filled in. And we're going to do this for each. But before we do that, I just want to show you what these link colors and link styles mean. This refers to any hyperlink that's going to be displayed within this section. You can indicate that a link color is a specific color and a style, so bolded, underlined, or italicized. And that way, you don't have to reformat it every time you're entering a link. Keela will do that for you by adjusting these link colors and styles to what's indicated here in this Style tab. I'm going to leave it as blue for right now. Now, let's go in and add some padding to our body here. And we're also going to adjust the color that we've linked here. And we'll do the same for the footer. Now we've kind of built out the basis of our email, and now we're actually going to create the content within it. And that's going to take place on the Layout tab. Now let's fill in the breadth of our content here on the Layout tab. In Keela, rows help define the space for your content blocks. So you can choose from several different styles of rows, including rows with 1, 2, or 3 columns. And then you can click and drag these rows here into your content. And you can see here, I had one previously added. So I went ahead and added a duplicate just to show you how this works. You can also delete these rows from here as well. And now I'm going to move forward with actually inputting our organization's logo into the header. So I'm going to use an image block here. And here I can upload my image. I'll upload our organization's logo. You can add an image link. So if you want people to click on this image and be redirected to your website, you can do that here. You can choose to have a border around your image, have any radius, and you can also choose the alignment. I'm going to maintain it at the center here. The last two features you see here is if you want to resize the image or if you want it to be edge to edge. I'm going to keep it with this small border here. Once I close it, maybe I'm going to look at this and say, okay, I am going to adjust my style settings after all. And let's reduce our padding here on the top and the bottom so that it's more of our logo and less of the border. Now, because we want this to be a reusable template, we're going to want to look at the content of our body in a very generic but specific structure. So first, I'm going to go ahead and add a divider in here. And here I can indicate any specific padding within the border. I can add, if I want a specific divider type, I'm going to choose a solid line. I can adjust the width, and I can even change the color here. So I'm going to adjust this to be a specific color. There we go. Now I'm going to mimic a specific header. So I'm going to close out this one content block. I'm going to add a new row below this, and I'm going to input some text. And here I just want this to be a header that can be updated each month. And one thing to keep in mind is if you're copy pasting data into this content block, you are going to need to reformat it. And in this case, I'm going to change the alignment. I'm going to maintain the Arial font here, but I'm going to change the size. I'm going to bold it, and I'm also going to adjust the color of it. And we can do that by adjusting the text color, and I'm going to input my color code here. Now, the reason this needs to be reformatted is because email hosts do not have the same coding as other external platforms, such as Microsoft Word. So in order to facilitate designs, they must be reformatted here within the email builder tool. Otherwise, the coding is not going to be correct on the email, and the formatting is going to be abandoned. So it's better to maintain the formatting here and fix it how you'd like it to be viewed, rather than have the email host make any adjustments on your behalf. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add another divider. So I'm going to add my content row. We'll add our divider. I'm going to change that color again, maintain everything else, and we're going to continue through on making this the actual email content itself. So the information that I want to display here. In this case, I'm going to use a smart code. So I'm going to copy and paste some text within this text block here. And you can see that I've selected a smart name smart code. And this is one of the more dynamic smart codes because it's going to work through the preferred name and the full name, and then eventually a company name. And it's going to work through all of those different name options. And if a name is not found, it's going to leave it blank. Whereas if you were going to use a first name smart code, if that first name isn't available, Keela's not going to be able to fill in that information. So by using that smart name smart code, Keela is going to work through a variety of different options before leaving it blank. Now we're going to add another divider here. Oh, see, I've got to add my content row first. My row first and then my content block. And here we're actually going to add the star of our newsletter. And that's going to be the main image that we want people to see. So if I click in here, I'm going to add another image card. And I'm going to upload the image. And this is going to be something that's going to be easily replaceable each month. And we can see that looks quite lovely. I've pulled all of the colors that we're using here from this photo itself. And perhaps we want to add a caption. And maybe we want to add this caption actually up at the top here. So I'm going to actually go back and I'm going to add a new content row. We'll add the text, And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste some information here, just so you can kind of see how this looks in practice. And then again, we're going to add some more dividers. And this is just a great way to break up the content of your email. And then here we're going to add a space where we can link to Keela's custom forms, whether it's for a fundraising appeal, or in this case, we're going to want to collect specific RSVPs for our annual gala. So let's take a look at how this functions in practice. And we're going to start by adding a text block just so people understand what they're signing up for. So I'm going to go ahead and add another content row here, add our text box, and then here I'm just going to say some information and prompt them that call to action for them to RSVP. Now, just below this, we're going to add another content row, and then we're going to use Keela's button functionality here. And this is great because we can actually link to a Keela custom form or a donation form. And in this case, we want to use a custom form to collect these RSVPs. So I can see here we have our annual gala 2022, and we're going to change this button text and go RSVP here. We can also change the background of this specific button. So to stay on brand with the rest of the theme, oops, I'm going to copy that and put it here. You can choose if you want a border around your button, if you want to draw more attention to it, as well as the radius. You can adjust the font and the font size, if it's bolded or not. So there's lots of flexibility here within the tool. And then we're also going to adjust the text color of the button itself. There we go. Now, this is something that's going to be easily updated each month, or you can even remove this section altogether. So we're really building out the basics of a reusable template for our monthly newsletter. Now, last but not least, we're going to add in our website buttons. And these are going to be automatically pulled from my organization settings. So the important thing here is making sure that you have these links mentioned in your organization settings. Otherwise, you will need to input a new link yourself. Otherwise, Keela's going to do all the work for you. You can make any adjustments if you want to have a border here, or change any of the font or the size, if you want them to be bolded, and so forth. We're going to add another content row just below this. And this is going to be Keela's footer. And this is essential to ensure that you're complying with those anti-spam laws. And Keela's going to keep this as simple as possible by doing all the work for you. So Keela's going to pull this information from your organization settings, and we're going to automatically add this unsubscribe button here. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the color, and there you go. This is the basics of our structure. And as you can see, there's tons of options for building out your email marketing templates. A few things to keep in mind while you're doing it is to maintain your recognizable branding and create an easy to reuse format. Now, the last thing we'll cover here before jumping in how to actually use these templates is we're going to show you how the adjustments to the page layout setting will show up. So right now we have it centered, so it's right down the middle of our page, but I could also choose to have it a full width email as well. So it's personal preference. I'm going to maintain the full width for now, and maybe next month, if I decide, I can use a centered template instead. Once you've created your template, you can now send out your email marketing communication. So let's walk through those steps together. First, we're going to head into the Email Marketing tab here in the Communications tool. From here, we're going to create a new email marketing using this big purple button. We're going to enter the name of this specific communication. We're going to enter the name of this specific communication. We're going to enter the name of this specific communication. Indicate the category of communication if we'd like to. Assign a Keela user to manage it. And if necessary or relevant, associate it to a specific campaign that you're running. From here, you also need to add a few more details in order to fulfill this email marketing content. First, let's add recipients. So these are the contacts that we want to send this email to. You can choose from a segment, tags, or all contacts on your account. I'm going to choose our newsletter recipient segment. And I'm going to send it to all email addresses, even if they're unknown. Now I get to choose which email address is going to show as the sender of this email. And I'm going to use my organization's overarching email address. As the assignee of this email, I'm going to be automatically listed as the reply to contact. However, I can remove myself or I can add other members as well. Here we can also indicate the specific subject. And if you'd like to, you can add some preview text here. And this is important because depending on the email provider, they may pick up some of the text that is coming in from your email and input that into the preview text. This is an anti-spam measure that's used pretty commonly across email hosts. So if you'd like to, you can input a preview text here to outline some of the details that might show in the email. You can also add any attachments if there are any that need to go out with your specific email communication. And last but not least, we're going to add the content itself. Keela has default templates, but now that we've saved a template, we can also pick that up here. Once I've selected this template, I'm going to be brought back into our email builder. So this is how you can make any changes to the template. And once you're ready, you can proceed and save and continue. Now that these 5 mandatory fields have been filled, you can send this email out to your contacts. But if you'd like to send a test beforehand, we do have the ability to send test emails. Or if you'd prefer to send this at a later date, you can pre-schedule a time. I'm going to go ahead and send this email right now. Now Keela is processing this email, and as soon as it has been sent out, this will be updated and you will see what time it was sent out at. And then slowly, as people start interacting with your email, you'll be able to see the email marketing statistics come in to see who it was delivered to, who opened it and clicked it, and if there are any bounced or unsubscribed contacts. And that's the basics of email marketing templates and building email marketing.